today putting together an Irish soda bread. The recipe that I'm using is from Gluten-Free on a Shoestring. Nicole is amazing, and she does all sorts of great gluten-free recipes. And I'm throwing this together. I don't know about copyright stuff. Hope I'm not messing with that, but I just wanted to give her a shout out. And I just love her recipes and the way that she does her gluten-free stuff. So it is a holiday. I'm wearing of the green and also of the purple because every day is purple at our house. And just going to throw together a little Irish soda bread so that you can see how easy it is. And we'll talk a little bit about the ingredients that are special for gluten-free. So here we go. I have 4 cups of flour. I'm using the Namaste brand. I'm not doing a whole lot of product placement here because, you know, neutral stuff, but Namaste is amazing. Nicole also has a lot of great flour blends in her world. We're going to put in the dry ingredients first, and xanthan gum is actually something you may not know about. You might if you're a gluten-free baker. What it does is it acts like a binder. So gluten is stretchy, and gluten-free flour doesn't have any of that stretchy stuff that holds it together, so we add xanthan gum. Important to add it as a powder. Mix it with your dry, because if you put it in and it's kind of wet, it will clump immediately and you'll end up with these weird, like fake tapioca ball, terrible stuff. So xanthan gum. We're going to put in some baking powder. I've never done this with the small bowls. I'm very excited about myself right now. Baking soda. And then we're going to put in, there's some cream of tartar and some kosher salt. And then what you do is you whisk it together. Again, remember that xanthan gum. Oh, I'm going to make a nice cloud. That xanthan gum really needs to be blended in. Otherwise, when you add the liquid, it's just going to bind up and make terrible little rocks. So we're doing that part. I'm going to check the recipe. I'm squinting. And we need to add the sugar too. So there's a bunch of sugar that goes in. Not too much, all things considered. I'll put a link to Nicole's book, and then you can sign up for her recipes or whatever, because I don't want to do any weird thing and give away her secret recipe without giving her lots of credit. Now what I didn't do is grab the buttermilk and the butter that are in the fridge. I'm going to grab those. I'll be right back. Probably going to do some fancy video editing there. Anywho, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the chilled butter. I'm just going to make sure I really got this mixed. Chilled butter. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the butter in here, and then we're going to rub it together. I did wash my hands really well before I started this, by the way. We're going to rub this together, basically kind of pinching, I don't know if you can see that, pinching the butter with the dry ingredients. You could use a pastry cutter, but I had the opportunity to get in here and use my hands, and I thought, what the heck? So this is going to take just a second. We're just going to mix all this together. I'll tell you, in the meantime, I'm really excited about doing more videos for you, because I've been thinking a lot about that. I'm not a professional cook. I don't do, I haven't done culinary school, but I have been doing this gluten-free thing for over 20 years, and I've found some really good tips and tricks that I want to share with you. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of time at home right now, and just sharing the good news with each other about how to make yummy food that makes us feel good. So for those of you that are already gluten-free, excellent. Hopefully you'll get some fun recipe ideas. For those of you that are not yet gluten-free but are sort of gluten-free curious, this will let you know that there's a lot of really good gluten-free food out there. It doesn't have to be tasteless and like sugar-coated cardboard. That was the old days when I started out, again, 20 years ago. There really wasn't a lot of option. It was kind of scary. But it was actually a really great excuse not to eat carbs. And now that there's so many really yummy gluten-free recipes and gluten-free options like bakeries and that kind of thing, I have to say that my carb intake has gone back up, and that's a whole other topic. That requires a lot more walking and exercise and that kind of thing. So what I'm doing is I'm just continuing to rub this together until it's kind of like sand. What this is going to do, so rubbing butter into flour does a lot of different things, but right now what we're doing is we're creating almost like a laminated dough. Have you guys watched the British baking show, or I don't know, all the other great baking shows that are on? When you have clumps of butter, you end up with steam in places, and the steam makes the dough light and flaky. So it's kind of fun to be rubbing this all together. getting all the little butters kind of mixed in with the flour. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the raisins. I'm going to put the raisins in the dry mix. What that does is it coats the raisins with flour so they don't all sink to the bottom. A couple of cups of raisins here. Nicole says raisins to taste, and I'm a raisin eater. I love raisins. You can also do currants. But when I went to the store and the shelves were kind of empty, they didn't have currants. So I'm doing raisins. And raisins are very yummy and equally good. So we'll just do that. So just tossing those guys so that when we put the wet ingredients in there, the raisins don't all sink to the bottom. So you don't end up with a loaf that just has, raisins in one layer. They're going to be all the way through. Okay, awesome. So now what I'm going to do is lightly beat the eggs, just a couple of eggs. Tiny bowl, giant whisk. So exciting. Actually, I guess I can really just go crazy and put them into the big bowl because that's where they're going to end up anyway. See? You can figure this out on the fly. All those years of improv pay off. Alrighty, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to add almost all the buttermilk. This is cold buttermilk. And I'm going to add almost all of that. I'm going to leave myself with a little bit because the recipe says if the mixture is too dry, then you add a little bit more buttermilk. But as you know, if you put in too much, you can't take it back out. So throw an egg on that whisk. You can get that off of there. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to make a hole in the flour. I'm going to pour in. Hope you can all kind of see this. The first movie video I've ever done in my kitchen. So excited. I was trying to figure out, I don't have one of those giant, big, fancy kitchens, and I was trying to figure out how to make videos for all of you. I'm just mixing the wet and the dry here. Trying to figure out how to make videos, and necessity is the mother of invention, right? So had a bunch of time on my hands, and I was making some yummy seasonal St. Patrick's Day food, and I thought, I really want to film this. Save the moment. So here we are, putting it on film. You're all a part of the inaugural video. I'm grateful that you're watching. I wanted to let you know too that I offer a lot of support for folks that are going gluten-free. Many of you may already be in the gluten-free category like we were talking about before, but when you started, it was kind of a freak out thing. And that's what I do, is just hold people's hands and help them navigate through that time of becoming gluten-free. I'm going to get in here with my hands a little bit and mix. This is going to be really messy. I'm thinking to myself, I should have put down a piece of parchment paper before I started doing this. Lesson learned. You all will learn from my mistakes. But this is going to be some awesome dough. And it feels like there's enough liquid in there. I just have to find all the flour. Anyway, what I'm going to do at the end of the video is I will put up my website, which, by the way, is being redone right now, and it's going to look fabulous. It's fabulous already, but it's going to be a bit more clear because I want you all to be able to find what you need. So I've got a really fun quiz where you can meet your gluten monster, and I want to get on the phone if you have any questions. We can just talk one-on-one and figure out what's good for you. We've got all kinds of ways to help you go gluten-free or up your gluten-free game, or if there's somebody you know that needs help. I just want to put these out there to be helpful. So, alrighty, I'm going to see if I can't get most of this off my hands without washing them. Try not to take more time away from being right in front of you on the camera. Let's put down a little parchment paper here. I'm going to time this out. Got myself a little bowl of flour already, so I can just kind of lightly flour my hands, and put this out here. And kind of form it with a little bit more flour, I think, into a ball. What we're going to do is put this in kind of a loose circle. The cool thing about this particular bread is it doesn't need a pan because it just kind of does its own shape. Yeah, this really came together well. I love this Namaste flour. It's got kind of a whole grain aspect to it without being like super chunky and overwhelmingly sort of grainy. But it really does a nice job with all of the baked goods that I've done. It's just really awesome. Okay, so you can see that really came together pretty quickly. I know that there are some recipes that say do an egg wash, and I'm not going to do that on this one. But what I am going to do, I'm going to make it a little bit flatter And then what you do is grab a sharp knife and make an X on the top. And what that does is it helps it rise, and it allows the bread to do what it needs to do. So let me just grab a knife really quick. And we're just gonna do a nice deep X on it. Yeah, okay. Fabulous. And I have a cookie sheet right here. Try not to jostle the camera. All right, so putting this on a cookie sheet, and then I'm going to put it in the oven. Ooh, camera's wiggling. Earthquake. Not really, I'm just kidding. I'm going to put this in the oven, and then I will come back and I will show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. It's probably going to be dark outside, so get one last look at the garden. And thanks for being here. I'll see you in a little bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Well, you've been here the whole time. I left and came back. So the soda bread's been in the oven for 45 minutes. Let's get it. Okay, and ta-da! There it is. So you can see the split allowed it to cook down in there because it's pretty thick. Very awesome. So I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I enjoyed talking to you today and letting you know that gluten-free baking is actually pretty straightforward. There are a couple of secret things that you need to learn, like xanthan gum, maybe cream of tartar, which help mimic the stretchy effect of gluten without having the gluten in the flour. You can see it's not super dark. Gluten stuff tends to be darker than gluten-free. You wouldn't want to go much darker than this because it would get burned. So just FYI. Thanks to Nicole Hun and Gluten Free on a Shoestring. She just writes great recipes and does a great job. So go find her. Again, that book. Go find her and get the recipe because she's awesome. So I'm going to be doing some more videos for you coming up. And check out, it'll be on this channel. I'll put the information down below where you can find me. I'll put some links for you. It's www.ediehoppin.com, 1D, 2 Ps, EDIEHOPPIN.com, Edie at ediehoppin.com for email, Living the Good Life Gluten-Free Facebook group. And I just look forward to spending more time with you and just showing you how easy the world of gluten-free can be. So happy St. Patrick's Day. And thanks again for joining me. And I'm going to go eat this now with lots of butter. So take care. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.